You're watching Oilers Nation Everyday with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop.
Buckle up, nation citizens, because the Stanley Cup Finals in Edmonton. Let's get into it with the lead. Podcast listeners might be a little bit confused by all that rustling sound you're hearing right now, but welcome into a Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of Oilers Nation Everyday. We've taken the Sports Closet studio out to our friends at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. Look at that. Orange and blue. I got the orange and blue goggles too. Right next to us, they have an orange and blue e-bike as well. Coincidence? Everything you need for summertime, they got you covered. Even if you want it in orange and blue, they got you at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. We have an absolutely loaded game day edition of the program coming up. Jason Demers is live at the rink. He's going to swing by and chat with us in about 30 minutes time. We got our guy Liam live at the rink. He's going to swing by at 1 o'clock. He is boots on the ground at Rogers Place along with Zach and Coombsy. So we're going to chat with a couple of them, I think, in the 1 o'clock portion of the show. But to kick off today's edition of Oilers Nation Every Day, let's get to our daily appearance from Frank Seravalli. It is brought to you by Horse Racing Alberta. Exciting live thoroughbred racing at Century Mile every Friday at 6:15, every Saturday at 3:45. For more information, go to thehorses.com. Our Daily Faceoff insider Frank Seravalli has finally made it to Edmonton. Frank, you had a hell of a travel day yesterday. How happy are you to be back up north in Edmonton?
I was happy to get here and have a room. I checked in 2:30 in the morning and I go to the room, hit the key on the door, and there's someone in there. So anyway, long story short, but it was an adventure yesterday. I'll say that.
Oh my God. Knowing what I know about how terrible your travel day was yesterday, for you to walk into someone else's room at 2:30 in the morning, I'm laughing because I feel pain for you, Frank. But you made it. You're ready to go for Game 3 of this Stanley Cup Final as it shifts to Edmonton. How significant of a boost and how significant of a factor do you think home ice advantage is for the Oilers in this game?
Well, the energy is certainly going to be there. This is the first Stanley Cup Final non-bubble game played in Canada since 2011, Game 7 between the Vancouver Canucks and Boston Bruins. It's different here. Those are facts. It's certainly different in Edmonton. We know that. I've been at almost every Oilers playoff home game so far during this run. This building has been loud. It's been electric. There's tons of reasons to think that this Oiler team, given all the things that they've faced to this point in the year, being left for dead in November, and now being a team that's overcome some significant hurdles when it comes to the playoffs, that they can find a way to get back into this series, starting with Game 3 on home ice.
Yeah, it's absolutely a must-win tonight down at Rogers Place if you want to get back into this series against the Cats. What do you need to see from the Oilers? And I know we talked about this a little bit yesterday. We obviously discussed it on Daily Faceoff Live today as well. But from an on-ice perspective, what do you need to see from this Oilers team tonight?
Need to see more depth. You know, I don't know what it is about this market. I don't know what it is about the coverage of this team in general, but whenever you get through a spurt like they just did, 2 games in Florida, 1 goal scored, outscored 7-1, the first thing that everyone kind of seems to want to point to is, hey, what about 97 and 29? And for me, the big thing is, where's the rest of the depth scoring? Look at the Florida Panthers and who they've gotten goals from so far in this series. Evan Rodriguez, Luster-Reinen, Mikkola.
Oh, did we lose Frank a little bit there? We may have lost Frank.
We lost him or he lost us.
One of the two. Well, we're still on the screen, so I'm going to assume it's we lost Frank. We'll get that all sorted out in the meantime. But I do agree. One thing that is maybe a little bit on the concerning side in this series, like, yes, the Oilers haven't gotten anything from their big guns. McDavid's got 1 point. Draisaitl's been held pointless in back-to-back games now. Like, the Oilers need more from their big guns. Haven't really gotten the production that you would have assumed they would have gotten through 2 games. The Panthers also haven't gotten the production that you would have assumed from their big guns in these 2 games. Hopefully having last change can change that a little bit.
Well, it could just be a function of the matchups. We're just doing a good job of shutting each other's superstars. And this is where, and like in the Stanley Cups, you need your depth to show up. And unfortunately, it hasn't for us. Our superstars have been suppressed. We've had a tough time on the power play. Hopefully we make some tweaks there. but Florida's found ways to get some depth scoring, albeit on some gross mistakes.
Yeah.
But they're forechecking, they're putting the pressure on. So, they're getting that from all four lines. So, I don't disagree with Frank. It's definitely a difference maker. If we can get depth scoring, then we're going to win hockey games. You can count on that.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of it's a matter of when, not if 29, 97 start appearing on the score sheet. Hyman, Nuge, like these things will happen. Tweaks will happen on the power play. We will figure those things out. But your depth is what gives you a chance, what keeps you alive in those games. A depth goal in game one could have gone a long way.
Yeah.
That we threw the kitchen sink at them. Maybe just a goal where you literally just drive it through Bobrovsky from a fourth line player that gets the team going, and then maybe opens up the time and space or gets Bobrovsky thinking twice and give us a chance to be in that game, because our shot total suggested we were in that game.
Yeah. That's fair. I think we might have our boy Frank back. Let's give this another go. We do. Frank, we were just kind of continuing on the discussion. Like, the Oilers haven't gotten anything from their stars. And while maybe that's encouraging from an Oilers perspective, because, hey, that's a group that's due to break out, you could look at Florida and say they haven't gotten anything from their stars either.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the video cut off, but that's basically exactly what I was saying was, look at Florida's goal scorers so far this series. It's been Rodriguez 3 times, Mikkola, Ekblad, Luosterainen. It hasn't been Sam Reinhart. It hasn't been Alexander Barkov. It hasn't been Sam Bennett, or pick any of the big name scorers, Matthew Tkachuk from the Florida Panthers. Basically, what's happened so far in these first 2 games is the top 2 lines have sawed each other off and made themselves net neutrals, and it's been the depth that has outshone the Edmonton Oilers. Now, they had an advantage in the Dallas Stars series where they were probably on paper the team that was overmatched, and they found a way to combat that in a significant way with different guys stepping up at different moments in time. But where are Zach Hyman? Where is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins? Evander Kane, is he playing tonight or not? In the Florida Panthers locker room, Evander Kane was on the board as a projected scratch. So it depends how you look at this. To me, it doesn't come down to Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl not scoring. And that said, I asked you this question on the show today, Tyler. When's the last time that Leon Draisaitl went more than 2 consecutive games in the postseason without a point? You have to go all the way back to 2017 against the San Jose Sharks in round 1.
Yeah, that's a long time since Draisaitl. I mean, he's been, as you called him, Frank, the most consistent or best playoff performer of this generation, and he's been quiet through 2 games. And just hearing him speak after the game in game 2 down in Florida, I think he's relatively pissed off as well. I think he obviously recognizes that he wasn't good enough in that hockey game. So that's going to be a big factor here. Another thing we discussed earlier today was just the mindset of the Florida Panthers coming into this game, because yes, the Edmonton Oilers on home ice, massive boost. They're going to come out and I think give their best effort of this series tonight. But from Florida's perspective, this is maybe where their experience comes into play a bit, no?
Yeah, it does. And Paul Maurice was asked about that, right? It's 2-0. It's human nature for the team that's down in the series to throw their best punch of the Stanley Cup Final right at this exact moment in time on Thursday night. But the Panthers are ready for that. They were the team that was in that spot last year, and they're hungry. They arrive here. They've been in difficult cauldrons to play in so far this postseason. They went to 2 different Original 6 arenas. They beat the Boston Bruins. They beat the New York Rangers. They are well prepared to step into this moment and this environment, especially having been to the Cup Final last year. And so I don't envision them blinking. I'd imagine that their toughest part tonight is going to probably be trying to weather the first 10 minutes. And if we get to the first 10 minutes and it's scoreless, well, then there might be some nervous energy that takes place in this building.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Now, your boots on the ground in the arena, what are the vibes like in the dressing room, the Oilers dressing room specifically?
I think they're excited for the opportunity. They know that there was a missed opportunity in game 1, Jay, to really try and, put their stamp on the series and make a mark on it. They would have accomplished exactly what they wanted, which was getting a split to open. They didn't do that, and now they're certainly facing an uphill climb and challenge. But I mentioned before the idea that no matter the obstacle, whether it was a 2-9-1 start, whether it's been different varying points through the playoffs so far, including never having a lead at all against the Canucks in round 2, they feel like they're well prepared to handle this situation as well. And I see a team that's got a ton of faith and a ton of optimism that, on a night when you, again, need your best players to step up, that you're going to get one of those type of games from Connor McDavid. You're going to get one of those type of games from Leon Draisaitl.
Last one, I guess, for you, it was kind of made a big deal by some people yesterday about the Panthers' flight being delayed, not being able to get in. Is that a factor or a non-factor?
Paul Maurice was, as you might expect, great about that this morning. He said, look, the only thing that really happened is the coaching staff gained 7 pounds. He said, we ate like 12 meals between the time that we killed. He said the players enjoyed themselves. They had a chance to relax on the plane, 5-hour flight. They do, kind of being an outpost there in South Florida, have some of the most difficult travel that's in the Eastern Conference, certainly more difficult than some teams in the West. Every team in their division is at least a 3-hour flight away. So this is really nothing new for them. The fact that they got in late, and late being 9:00 Mountain Time, it's still light here. The game is still being played on Eastern Time for a team that hasn't played a single game at all outside of their time zone in 5 months. This is a team that, really seems to be dialed in. So I'm not expecting anything different from a Panthers perspective, just based on, the flooding that occurred in South Florida and a little bit of a delayed flight.
Perfect. Frank, appreciate your time, man. Thanks for doing this.
See you guys.
There you go. Frank Seravalli for the horses at Northlands Park. Sorry, not the horses at Northlands Park. They're not at Northlands Park anymore. Come on, Tyler. Exciting live thoroughbred racing at Century Mile. That is every Friday at 6:15, every Saturday at 3:45. Check them out at thehorses.com. Let's continue along with the show. A Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of things here. You're going to the game tonight, right?
I'm going to the game tonight.
You're going to the game. Why that kind of answer?
Why the question?
I was just double checking. I'm
going to be there. I'm riding this to the end.
What do you make of the comment about if Florida can survive the first 10 minutes, maybe a bit of nervous energy in Edmonton?
I think it's a fair statement, because either one of two things that happened. We came out flat, which is not good, and a bad signal, or we came out hot and Bob is here.
Yeah.
And Bob showed up. And then that just creeps into the mindset, whether it be being flat and that's contagious, or we're throwing the kitchen sink and we can't get anything done. So I think those first 10 minutes, obviously if they throw the kitchen sink at them and they can sustain that, then obviously feeling more bullish than if they come out flat. But I know the first 10 minutes are really going to kind of set the tone how this game's going to be, because now we're on home turf. This is our barn. These are our fans. The fans are going to be loud and proud because we are going to try to will this back onto the rails. So we just hope the Oilers feel the same way. They want to win this game.
Yeah.
So show us, empty the tank.
Yep. I honestly think we're going to see a real beast mode kind of performance from 97 and 29 tonight. I think that's just an absolute given, and we'll get into that a little bit later on with the bets. Power play is probably getting to that point similar to it was against Dallas. We're okay, it's been cold enough now. And I know it took till what would have been game 5 for the power play to wake up against Dallas. But again, I'm starting to get that feeling of they hit 3 posts last game. They're moving in the right direction. I think they're going to figure out this Florida PK.
There's something positive you can take from that's what's shitty. We're down 2-0, but there's a lot of positive you can take from both those games that, that where you can make an argument where that split was possible, whether it be they win game 1 or game 2. They might not have deserved to win game 2, but they created enough opportunities to win it and just made a couple of mistakes.
Yeah, and maybe and that's definitely the glass half full side of this is Connor,
well, we need to be.
Yeah, you have to be, because the other side of it is
we're in the Stanley Cup Final. We've already gone through the gauntlet. We need to just be positive and try to push this to a positive outcome.
So you don't want my glass half empty take?
I mean, you're going to say it anyways.
Yeah, I just the part that maybe scares me a little bit is through 2 games you're down 2-0, and there have been some things that have gone your way that maybe aren't necessarily a guarantee to continue going your way. Obviously, we know the Panthers didn't bring their best in game 1. You didn't get the win in that game. That's kind of a knock.
But once again, the argument of that is or did we do a good job shutting them down?
Yeah, and hey, maybe that's fair. Maybe the Oilers deserve a little bit more credit than just sitting there and saying, "Oh, the Panthers didn't play good one game, played good the next game," and look
Like
at the score differential.
Yeah, the shot differential tells
Yeah.
you a big story there. We just couldn't score.
Yeah. The other thing too, Stuart Skinner's been really good for a pretty solid stretch here now. Are you a little bit worried
What do you
about
think
that?
Oh, well,
I'm
man.
not, because again, like we
It-
saw him for 3 straight months basically in the regular season look like this kind of goalie.
Yeah,
And
he's settled in now.
I think the anomaly was what we got against Vancouver. I don't think that's
not
the
normal
norm.
Stuart Skinner.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Like in his post whatever November or whatever date or December date on till the end of the regular season would suggest, that that's not him either. So
Yep.
Yeah, no, he's settled in, but obviously, like, if it comes down to a goaltending battle, he's not going to win it, and like we have to solve that.
Yep,
and that's just a reality. That's not a knock on Stu. It's just Bob's like if top tier is a little bit higher than Stu's.
Yeah, I agree. So the Oilers offense has to be that top tier, has to be a little bit higher than what the Florida Panthers are able to give you at your top tier. Let's get into a couple of comments over in the Charm Diamond Center's YouTube chat, charmdiamondcenters.com, home of the Charm Masterpiece program, where you can get a custom rink built and delivered in less than 4 weeks. Shout out to our friends at Charm Diamond Centers. Bob is in. Everything to the net. Everyone's got to get in the paint. I do think they need to do a better job of that. Bobrovsky obviously covers the bottom of the net very well, but there are some second chance opportunities there. We saw Zach Hyman with his big miss in game 1. Like, if you go to the net, good things will happen.
Yeah, and that's where the low shot is okay. If it's intentional for a crash, but we're not crashing.
Yeah. Bo says, if we're not going to be positive going into the game, why are we even here? Game 3, clean slate. Let's go, Gito. I don't know how to say that. Skinner isn't bad, but he's not amazing either. But we don't need Stuart Skinner to be amazing. We need Stuart Skinner to have a nice, solid floor. If he can be 890 or better, you are going to have a very, very, very good chance to win this hockey game here tonight. There's way more pressure. And
I think we got to raise the bar, a floor of 890.
Sure, 905.
Yeah, it's got to start with the 9 as the floor.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, in game 1, they almost won, and he wasn't above a 900 in that game, so it was close. But Dacky has said something that I like. He said Skinner is ironically under the smallest spotlight right now, and I think that's 100%. There are a lot of people who are under a lot more pressure than Stuart Skinner heading into this game. It's the guys in the top 6, and like Frank alluded to, it's the guys down in the bottom 6 of this lineup. Someone had a comment earlier on. I'm not going to scroll all the way back up to it because I think it was like the 3rd comment of the show, but they were like, get ready because Corey Perry's arriving tonight. And I kind of sit there and I shrug and I'm like, is Corey Perry arriving tonight? Like, is that really what we think is going to go down? Because
it would be nice.
We've been sitting here and saying that now for 6 weeks. And we've been saying it going back the last couple of weeks of the regular season, and it hasn't happened. So I'm not holding my breath on Corey Perry because I don't think it's a matter of him waking up. I think it's an ability thing at this point with him. But who I am looking at is a Warren Fogle if he actually stays in the lineup. I think that's a guy who the ability's there. We saw him with our own eyes score 20 goals this season. He can do it. It's a matter of him waking up a little bit and finding a way to get it done.
Yeah, like we don't have a choice, right? These things actually need to happen because our depth isn't firing, and we have a depth issue now.
Yeah. Brown and Janmark, they continue to be good, but it would be nice for them to chip in with a big goal at some point here. But again, we got a comment, Chad. Can Sam Gagne arrive instead? I don't think. Again, I've said this 100 times. Don't hold your breath on that. They're not just going to magically throw Sam Gagne into
a single playoff game.
Yeah, and even going back before the playoffs, when was the last time he would have been in the NHL? It was a while before the end of the season, right? Yeah. Or did he get a couple in right in the last couple? Even if he did, he got the garbage games at the end of the season.
Phoenix, Colorado.
Yeah. Gerson is in and says, you guys are still underestimating the Panthers D and how good they play on the road. Best in the regular season, best in the playoffs.
Well, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to sit here on Oilersnation Everyday and just absolutely throw flowers at the Panthers D way? No, we want our forwards to score against them. And we put 30 some shots against them.
And who else did they say was the best road team in the NHL? Dallas, like to remind us of that a lot.
But it doesn't matter right now. Yeah, we know their D's good. We already broke this down. It's now we're only talking about how we can win.
Yep, absolutely. And Rusty said the exact same thing. Wasn't Dallas the best road team in the NHL?
And Ottinger was the best road goalie.
Yeah, and
right? It's fine.
Yeah, we found a way to get to him a handful of times towards the end of that series. Maynard, if we're counting on Corey Perry, that's probably not good. Gord says all the advantages are with the Oil for this game. No excuses. Absolutely. The crowd should be totally propelling this group forward. Like, there really are no more excuses with this Oilers team. We're going to get to a lineup report. We're going to get to our pal Jason Demers in a couple of minutes, as well as he'll join us on the Star Mechanical guest line, just waiting for things to get set up over at the rink. Also, look at my nice new golf shirt. Isn't that sharp?
That's nice.
Isn't that sharp? Got the little Nation Network on the side as well. We were
Very
representing,
pro.
representing down at the rink.
I'm wearing La Bamba mentality, which all of us should carry to the game tonight or at home watching the game.
You can get that shirt right there. Good job, AB. nationgear.ca. The La Bamba Mentality tee, one of the many new designs we got up over at Nation Gear. Order yours today. Get nice and represented for the remainder of this series. Going back to what a few of you were saying, someone said get more pucks on net. I do think it was a little concerning going and pulling up the natural stat trick last game and seeing how few high danger looks the Edmonton Oilers got. And
that was brutal.
Again, it's an imperfect count, I think, at times, because it says they had none in the game at 5v5. And I think that Connor McDavid breakaway probably counts as a high danger look, even though he didn't get a shot attempt off on it. They did get to some dangerous spots, but the point is, wasn't nearly enough, I think is the point.
We got to go back to game one mode and just readjust our shooting target.
Yeah. We haven't had a chance to chat since the end of last game, but what did you make of the whole potential supplemental discipline for Leon Draisaitl thing in that story? I thought it was bullshit.
I mean, come on. The result will obviously not ideal, but Sasha Barkov is a giant human.
Yeah.
So if you want to lay a lick on him, you got to put some force into it. So Leon jumped forward towards it. It was just a hockey hit. There was no direct intention to hit the head. So, no, that was fine.
All right.
He got the penalty, right?
Let's get out to the Star Mechanical guest line, Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. You can find out more about them online at starmechanical.ca. Residential, commercial, 24/7 emergency services. They do it all at Star Mechanical, and they do it really damn well. Let's get out to Rogers Place, where our boy Jason Demers is joining us live. Look at this. What a setup. JD, how's it going?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me out here?
Oh, yeah, we got you.
Look at this setup behind me. Incredible. And this place is going to be absolutely rocking in about 6 hours?
Yeah, we're about exactly 6 hours away from puck drop down at Rogers Place. What do you make of, I guess, two-part, what do you make of the vibes around the city as you pull in and experience a cup final in Edmonton and just being around the rink? What do you make of the vibes of the Oilers themselves heading into this game?
Well, they're saying all the right things, and it's been really calm and cool and collected. I love what Connor talked about yesterday. They're trying to take on the underdog role now, which I think is a great way to kind of pull the guys along. And obviously within the city, just walking, the buzz is incredible. It's like I said, it's 5-6 hours from puck drop, and you could just feel it around the city, around the hotels. It's in the entertainment complex here, the Ice District. It's really something else. I can't wait. I'm got goosebumps already. Just walking in yesterday, we were able to get on the ice and film some demo stuff with the network, and it's really cool to kind of be back in this building.
Yeah, it's gonna be just on fire in there tonight. We bumped into you into Florida on the concourse doing your show. Are you gonna be doing anything like that in Edmonton?
Oh, I'm surprised you remembered. I was wondering if you're a little turnt there or something.
I was like a nice even 5.5 out of 10. I remember that.
You had one of your boys was there. He was about halfway to Sunday. And but it was awesome to see you guys. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing the same thing in Ford Hall tonight. So I'm gonna be in the mix big time. I can't wait. We're gonna have some pretty cool guests. I think we're getting Duncan Keith and a couple of the executives within the Oilers organization. So it's gonna be a really fun opening. It's a cool start up for me for the game. It really builds to be with the fans and hear how crazy they're getting. So by the time I leave there, I'm ready for puck drop.
Hell yeah. Speaking of being ready for puck drop, what do you want to see from the Oilers tonight after the puck drops that maybe you didn't see from them in game 2 of this series?
Well, they got to calm down. Number one, you can't play that Florida style hockey game, that dirty borderline. It just doesn't work for Edmonton. Unfortunately, you're right in their wheelhouse. I thought they got their pound of flesh, but it was more born out of frustration. I know people are talking about pucks to the net, and that's obviously a huge thing, but they have to get bodies to the net, and they have to outwill Florida. Right now, they're allowing themselves to be checked going to the net, and they're just not getting there. We're going to do a segment today on the network about faceoffs, and they're getting just dominating the faceoff circle right now. I think 55% both games, and when they're winning those faceoffs in the ozone, they're generating nothing, and Bob's seeing everything. So guys have to really bear down and put some weight on the stick and get to the net. If you got to run into Bob with whatever defense and you bring with you at the Panthers, but they're just allowing themselves to get checked too much, and they're not getting that, patented Edmonton Oilers kind of cycle, long extended shifts in the ozone, tiring out the opposing team. Last game was a patented Florida Panthers hockey game, and if Edmonton wants any chance, they're going to have to really bear down on faceoffs, and then once they get those looks, those opportunities, pucks and bodies to the net. It's simple, and it seems like a cliche to say, but it's really how you win hockey games.
It's playoff hockey.
Yeah.
Got to get dirty.
Sure is.
Well, and that's
Gotta
why
get a little dirty.
I'm sure your eyes were rolling too when you heard some of the talk about, is there going to be supplemental discipline for the Draisaitl hit or for the Foegele knee or anything like that? Like, it's the Stanley Cup Final. Like, shit's going to get a little violent here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think the context of the game, I do think Leon should have maybe. The funny thing is the only person that gets fined is Carrick through all that. And I saw the Foegele one a couple times, and I saw it from some camera cell phone angles, and I can't believe they didn't. The refs usually get it right and sometimes miss, but I can't believe they didn't downgrade that to a 2-minute. And Luostarinen, I went on a rant yesterday. I just don't like I don't like when guys lay on the ice for 3 minutes and then come back a minute later. Yeah. I think that's disrespects the game. It disrespects the refs and the league, because we're all thinking, we're all as fans, even Oilers fans, are thinking, oh no, like I hope he's okay. I hope he's good. We lose Foegele. We're like, oh, it's warranted because Luostarinen's hurt, and then he's back a minute later. So I just think it's something that didn't need to happen. Now the Draisaitl one, I think you could have made an argument for a fine there. There was a little bit of leaping, but at the very least, just that. It's hockey. Things happen. Leon's never been suspended. He's done some plays that have been questionable, but he's not a kind of guy that's going to hurt somebody. I just think it was born out of frustration because Barkov's really done a good job of holding them in check and frustrating them. So I think it was him trying to, and I think it was the right thing to do. I think he has to start finishing on Barkey and making him feel uncomfortable instead of allowing Barkov to kind of dictate play between him and Connor.
Barkov's a moose, so you got to kind of put some force into him, right? So I think that was Leon's intention. It wasn't to go full Mark Messier on him.
I know,
right? So yeah, maybe I guess if we're gonna be soft, sure, fine. But I think what they did was fine. And it's just annoying, when Luostarinen does what he does, because then the refs are just calling the call based on the end result, and that's not, that wasn't the action.
Yeah, we got a couple of comments here in the chat I want to get to in just a second. But first, just wanted to circle back really quickly to the Oilers Stars kind of being shut down so far in this series. On the meter, if there's a meter, and on one side it's the Panthers are just playing great defensive hockey and shutting them down, or the Oilers Stars aren't playing their best. Where do you kind of come out more on that?
It's a little bit of both. I thought, Edmonton played a good game one, but that was Florida's worst game they played in the playoffs. And Bob saved him, unfortunately. And then game two, that was more Panthers hockey, where it's just really, really tight defensive. They're all over him. They're pressuring him. They're not allowing Edmonton to get to their sets. And it just seemed like it, and I use the analogy that Florida just kind of cattle prods you and continually cattle prods you a bit. And it's borderline dirty, and there's like clutching and grabbing, and then you eventually snap, and then you take the penalties and get outside your game. So they just got to stay with it. They got to skate through the checks. They got to make sure they're playing a little bit more connected. And obviously their power play, we all, we can talk about it ad nauseum. Their power play, they can't win if their power play is not going. And it just, because 5-on-5, Florida is statistically the better team and have been in this series. So they're going to need the power play to at least get them a spark. Get some goals, get some shots, get some traffic in front of Bobrovsky, and hopefully that gets Hyman going, that gets Connor going, that gets Leon going, that gets Evan Bouchard going, because without their power play, it's going to be tough to outscore them and outpace them. So, and that's just them, with 5-on-5 play, getting a little bit harder on the forecheck, getting pucks deep. And then when Florida's clutching and grabbing and playing borderline, you just got to skate through those checks and just play your game. So I think it's you're going to see a calm, revved up, refreshed Oilers team. I know they're a little banged up and they're probably missing some guys tonight and they're not at 100%, but I think the fans are gonna have to carry them and are going to. So I do think this is a game where we talk about the sixth man or the seventh man in hockey. It's gonna have to be the fans of the Oilers, which they have been all year in this playoffs, and they're gonna need to hit another level tonight.
Yeah, I think if they keep moving their feet, they'll get through some stuff, but they'll also result in drawing some penalties too.
And the power play's got to get going. Got to get going.
Well, it's got to.
Has to.
Yeah, it's their bread and butter. Okay, I want to get to a couple that we got out in the Great Clips inbox with more than 4,400 hair salons throughout the United States and Canada. Great Clips is the world's largest hair salon brand and official hair salon of the NHL. Your time is valuable, which is why you can use the Great Clips check-in app, see the wait time, check in on your phone, and get your haircut when you want. For more information, check out greatclips.com. Great Clips. It's going to be great. Dacky is in with this one. He wants to know your take on the Nurse injury. It looked like a bit of a hip problem for Nurse. And how would you manage this Oilers blue line if the big D man Darnell Nurse can't go tonight?
Well, I think he's got a hip pointer. I think he caught a little bit of the end wall, and if it's bad or he cracked something, it's obviously going to be super painful. A little bit more manageable than the Vander Kane one, which I think is a more lower abdomen, which I don't know if Kaner can go tonight. But for Nursey and the decor, I don't love 11-7, but they're going to have to go to that tonight, especially if Kane can't go. And you might as well just load up the top guys, put your 7D out there. And I know it might be Gleason being the seventh, but I think you have to, because you can talk to Darnell, and being a former player, the coach will probably ask you, hey, can you give me a full game? And you're going to say, yeah, I won't come out. I won't get injured. But you don't know if by compensating, you're going to hurt something else. And obviously the Panthers aren't stupid. They're going to target Nursey if he's in. Nursey's an important piece. I know everybody gets on him and rides him, but especially us media, we certainly get on him because of his stats, but he's a huge part of this decor. He eats minutes. He eats 20 to 25 minutes a night. That has to go somewhere. So I think you manage him early, bring in a 7th D. And if you got to kind of play him, Gleason, Desharnais, and you play them as a group of 3, and then you kind of, or if Desharnais out and CC's in, you put CC with Kulak, and then you put Broberg, Desharnais, Nursey, and you kind of just mix and match those 3 and allow Nursey to kind of play a little bit less, but give those guys more ice time. So I'm sorry, I apologize. I said Gleason, but it'll be Broberg and Desharnais and Nursey, and then I think you put CC with Kulak, because I think CC, if he's back in, he's going to have a big game. He's going to be playing hard. I think put him, 2 veteran guys, eat some ugly minutes, and then have the young legs be with Nursey to kind of shelter him a little bit and allow those guys to get up ice while he plays a little bit tighter and more of a defensive game, because it might be tough for him to get up in the rush with that type of injury.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, last one, because I know we said we weren't going to keep you too long. I lost who sent it in the chat, but they wanted to know the Ekblad chokehold on Bouchard. Is that just playoffs? It's in a scrum heat of the moment, or did he cross a line there?
Well, it's interesting because, you saw what the Oilers did in terms of, the Carrick thing and then Draisaitl and there's a scrum. I don't love a choke. I mean, I think it is a dangerous motion if he holds on to it. Choking somebody out could become a dangerous play. I've never seen a guy tap. It is playoff hockey though, so all bets are off once you get into those things. I do think they've targeted Bush the last 2 games, and it seemed like it got to him last game in game 2. I just thought he was outside of his game and trying to chirp back with those guys and take cheap shots, and somebody needs to kind of step in and protect him. I would have liked a little bit more of a response from guys if somebody had seen it, but it was away from the play. But they got to kind of protect him. He's your offensive guy. You can't have Bush being your grinding guy that's has to hit and take this punishment. He needs to be guy to create the offense. So they need some guys to kind of protect him a little bit, make sure that none of that happens, because it seemed like last game especially more so than game one, that they were targeting him and they got under his skin. They got to him, and I thought all game he was frustrated outside of his game. He was rushing shots, and then he was slow to move because I just thought he was overthinking it. So for him, he needs to kind of get back, recenter himself. And it's interesting because it's hard to get under Bush's skin, and I have never really seen him get that frustrated. So for me, it's a point of concern because when you show them that you're kind of rattled, especially Florida, they're going to now target you. So, and he plays big minutes. He's playing, 25 to 30 a night. So for Bush, I just think he needs to recenter himself, worry about moving the puck quick, getting up ice, shooting him when he has it, and just staying out of that nonsense because those are the kind of fights he won't win. And, you need him on the ice playing power plays. So, but I did think it was a little bit of a dangerous play. I've never seen that before, but there's a lot of firsts in the NHL. So every time you say you've seen it all, you see something else. And it looked like when Bush tapped, Eki kind of relinquished the chokehold. But to say that I haven't put somebody in a guillotine in the AHL last year would be a lie because I did. But so all bets are off once you get close to the net there in a scrum.
Fair enough. I know you were impartial. I know you don't pick sides, but I am really hoping you get to see Rogers Place on fire and a big performance from the Oilers tonight. Appreciate you giving us some time. I know it's a busy game day for you, and enjoy it tonight.
Yeah, I don't pick sides, but I mean, I'd love to see Edmonton win in this building. I want it to be a series. I don't want this to be a 5-game, 4-game sweep. So it's like we want, I want some hockey and good hockey. So I want the Oilers to play at their best and have it be best on best. And I think the Rogers Place is going to be rocking. So get going, Oilers fans. Let's go. Oil up. Come on. Come on.
Thanks, Jason.
See you, boys.
See ya.
There you go, Jason Demers on the Star Mechanical guest
he's
line.
Always good for a chuckle.
He's always good to fire the people up a little bit at the end. I like
he
to
was
hear
low
that.
key doing that in Florida when we walked in.
know.
Like, oil up, come on.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. Appreciate him swinging by with the big fancy suit on and all of that. We'll get to, I think we'll have Liam pop by a little bit from that spot. Might get Cam and Zach in as well. But first, it is a Sherwood Ford Giant game day. So let me throw you a Sherwood Ford Giant game day question on the heels of our chat with Jason Demers.
I'm nervous to answer this question.
That is fair.
I don't even know the question.
Sherwood Ford the Giant, just down the road from us. You can take advantage of all of the fantastic perks that come with making Sherwood Ford your next dealership, including their mobile service van, the valet service, or the countless bays that will get you back on the road. Quickly check them out, sherwoodford.ca. Your Giant game day question: would you go 11-7 tonight? Like what?
I guess I need to know the lineups. I don't know what's going on right now. So
Yeah.
Kane might be out. What else?
Well, I'll get to that in a second.
Well, but that helps me answer my question.
So let me preface it and say, let's go. Kane and Nurse are at the exact same level of health. And Kane goes, I can go, but the doctors go, he can probably only give you 10 minutes. And Nurse goes, I can go, and the doctors go, he can probably only give you 10 minutes. So you need to buffer somewhere there. What's more valuable to you, 10 minutes of Kane or 10 minutes of Nurse? It's a damn near impossible question, but
oh man,
here's where
anyways, I think I'm leaning towards 11-7 because what that means is just, and I know this goes against what I was saying the first two shows, but it just gives Leon and Connor more ice time with some of the other pairings to try to make them more of a threat. So we're talking about depth. Connor McDavid on your third or fourth line is depth. Leon on your third or fourth line is depth. Granted, it's coming at their expense in terms of just energy levels, but it elevates those back, bottom six lines, and gives them, a chance to solve this depth issue that we're facing. So, and then also an insurance policy on Nurse if we can only get those 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I don't hate if you can't. If Nurse starts, he gets through the second period, takes another hit, whatever could play out in throughout the course of a game. You can go with Broberg and Desharnais. They played together a ton in the American League, I'm led to believe. And then your second pairing, you would have Kulak and Ceci. They played together a bit in these playoffs. So let's get to kind of your takes on the Sherwood Ford Giant question. Chad is in, a broken D is hard to hide. You can't run Boosh 30 minutes again. Connor says if they're both hurt, 11-7. Kane isn't worth much injured. Brandon says 11-7 is the move. Eyes within. Kane offers very little when he's at 50% as well. So yeah, it seems to be kind of one way. Percy is in as well. I'd take Nurse over Kane for sure if he's well enough to move. And the other thing too, going to 11-7 versus 12-6 and getting that 10 minutes of Evander Kane, the 11-7 does come with the kind of underlying of you're gonna play Connor and Leon more. It's
I know.
Maybe it's 10 minutes.
It's not the way we need to think, but we're also down 2-0. We're on home ice. These guys want to go, so let's let them fly. And it just, that insurance policy on our defense is important should one guy go down. You saw, Boosh have to step up and also, to Jason Demers' point, get a little rattled. And we saw him make some mistakes, right?
Yeah.
And, that's not normally Boosh's game to just do what he did, especially on that. Was that the Rodriguez goal that he passed it right to him? Or was that?
Yeah, it was the Rodriguez goal.
So yeah. It like I said, it buys more time for guys like Boosh to get recalibrated or get rested and play the appropriate amount of minutes that he needs to play. So that's it. I'm 11-7.
Yeah. Shell is in, quote, you can't play Gagne. Yes, you can. I'm not saying like you can or can't. I'm just saying they won't. I don't think they're even considering it as an option right now. So I really do think we gotta move on from that. All right. What else do we have in here? Connor, if you're doing 11-7, you can have McDavid and fair center and someone center for McLeod and Fogle as well. Yeah. Like again, you can build out your lines in a way. And I did talk with Frank about that yesterday and doing the lineup of, and actually, maybe we should just get into our lineup report quickly. It's brought to you by our friends at Boston Pizza. It's been more than 30 years since a Canadian team has won it all. For some teams, even a lot longer, like the Oilers. What would it take for Canadian hockey fans to set aside their differences and work together to end this drought? Team up for the win with Boston Pizza. I went to Boston Pizza last night for wings, and I had a very, very cold, nice tankard of Molson Canadian.
The coldest beer on the planet.
It is perfect. It really is. Shout out to our friends over at Boston Pizza. Here is your lineup report brought to you by BPs. We'll give this to you kind of as best as we can because Chris Knobloch basically said he's not disclosing very much.
Playoff gamesmanship, right?
So
you heard like the air traffic controllers try to divert the plane. Like everyone's doing their part.
We have that clip actually. We'll play it in a little bit. But here's a nice little rundown from our pal DMB from The Athletic. Perry's expected to draw in. Carrick was on the ice late, likely out. I do think that's actually a pretty important nugget. CC off early, possible he's back in. Sounds like Broberg and Desharnais are in. If Nurse plays, could be 11-7. Kane status unclear, but is less likely to play in an 11-7. Derek Ryan likely in for Carrick if it's 12-6. So again, a lot of speculation here. DMB joke clear as mud. He says in a lineup with 11 forwards and Perry in, 3 forwards from game 2 have to come out. Carrick and 2 more. So it would likely be Carrick. It would be Evander Kane. And I guess the third one would be. No, you wouldn't need. You would just need 2. It'd be Carrick and 1 more, I think, because you could run McDavid with Nugent Hyman. That's 3. McLeod with Draisaitl and Holloway. That's 6. Janmark with Henrique and Connor Brown. That is 9. And then your 4th line could be Fogle and Corey Perry. And you're good.
Mm-hmm.
And those would be your 11. So I actually, after reading that from DMB, who obviously is right in the thick of things down there with the guys at the arena, I think this looks like we're lining up to 11-7. Zach was out during the Oilers practice. Here's what he reported on for the line combos tonight. And again, this leans me towards thinking it's 11-7. Just when you see the way the wing pairs are structured, you would have Fogle and Perry as that quote unquote 4th line. And I honestly think they would basically only be used for offensive zone draws as a way to sneak out McDavid and Draisaitl. And that would be it. They'll probably only play 8 or 9 minutes tonight. But it'll be selective and it'll be with the big guns more than 100%. Anything. So it's unfortunate that the Oilers are running into these injuries. No one feels sorry for you.
Deal with it.
You got to find a way to get through it. The Florida Panthers, 100% healthy, but they'd be the first team to sit there and go, look at us last year, right? So Chris Knobloch, this from Friedman on tonight's lineup quote, you're going to have to wait and find out. Friedman adds there's more concern about Kane's health than Nurse. So again, that kind of answers our question of what they could do. Evander Kane's been playing through that for 6 weeks. And if it's just starting to give out.
Yeah. Well, and getting worse by the game, right? That's something that needs to get dealt with. and if he gets it dealt with, then he can't play. So it's a vicious circle, as I like to say.
Yeah, it is.
Who are they?
I
don't know.
All right, we're gonna keep cruising along on the show. The Florida Panthers lineup, I guess I can give that to you really quickly here. Just on the flip side of things, Alexander Barkov centering Evan Rodriguez and Sam Reinhart.
I like how they're saying Rodriguez's depth scoring. He's their first line.
I know. I kind of wanted to say something, but then I didn't. Sam Bennett with Carter Verhaeghe and Matt Tkachuk, Anton Lundell with Eetu Luostarinen and Vladimir Tarasenko. Tarasenko and Barkov both didn't skate yesterday. Today, so they're expected to be fully ready to go in this one. The fourth is Kevin Stenlund with Nick Cousins and Steven Lorenz, so a little swap there on the line. Gustav Forsling with Aaron Ekblad, Nico Mikkola with Brandon Montour, Oliver Ekman-Larsson with Dmitry Kulikov. A big advantage again for the Oilers just with that top end skill is going to be finding them the right matchups, which again 11-7 will allow you to pick your spots a little bit better with the matchups in this hockey game, because I think you want Connor and Leon out there against OEL and Kulikov as much as you can, and you want Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl out there against that fourth line tonight more than anything too. So
yeah,
chance to get some lineup mismatches, which is going to be a massive key.
Yep. That's the name of the game.
Yeah. All right, is our boy Liam ready to go? Liam, give me a thumbs up if you're ready to pop on down there. Okay, he's waving. Let's get out to Liam, who's live at the rink. It is brought to you by Fountain Tire. Our coverage of the final is presented by Fountain Tire, and they are more than just tires. They offer a wide range of auto repair services from their expert mechanics. Visit fountaintire.com to see all the mechanical services that they offer. Liam is out at the arena helping us get things set up for Frank and Jason, and now he joins us to give us his take on what's going to go down tonight. Liam, how are you enjoying standing high up in Rogers Place? You're muted. Please unmute yourself.
That's the first rule of radio and television.
Who is this? Who's on this production team right now? Oh,
it's
just
you.
me. Okay,
Yeah.
It's just me. Yes, I am. It's very cold, but I am happy to be here. They're doing the Zamboni right now, and they're putting out the pom-poms for the game, so things are gearing up for tonight.
How many people do they have working on that pom-pom task? I've always wondered that.
Well, I can see there's one lady right there. I think I've seen 4 or 5.
That's
So
still
it's
a lot.
yeah.
So that's like 4,000 to 5,000 seats per person.
Yeah.
So what is your
Yeah.
pom-pom per seat per minute? How long does it take you to bang out a row?
Well, this lady that's been doing it next to me in, I believe that would be the Sportsnet Lounge, has been doing it since the start of the Jason Demers hit. And there's probably about 30 seats in that section. Probably more than that, actually. Maybe like 50, 60, but a while.
So what would that be? Pom-poms per minute? What's her PPPM?
PPPPPPPM.
What did anything stand out for you in our conversations? I know you were standing there while Demers and Frank did their hits, but what do you want to see from the Oil tonight?
Goals would be nice. I think the power play obviously is where they need to find it, but I'm just curious to see what the refs are going to be like tonight. Do they want to be involved in the game like they were in game 2, or is it similar to game 1 where it was like probably a bit more legit calls, not as involved? Everything that was called seemed fair. So, but the others just need to find the game at 5-on-5. We all saw that video going around of Connor McDavid trying to get through the Panthers defense, and there was no gaps in that wall. So it's about the others just trying to find that 5-on-5 game, and I think that can come from momentum from the power play.
Would you go 11-7 tonight?
I don't think they have much of a choice if Darnell Nurse isn't 100% healthy and Kane isn't playing. So it makes sense having Cody Ceci back there for the experience, especially like we can all say what we want about Cody Ceci, but he is part of that penalty kill that's been excellent the entire run. So I think it'll be good to have him in for that. And then with that too, you allow Connor McDavid and Draisaitl to kind of interchange within the lineup wherever you need them. And Frank said it right, like the depth hasn't been here for this team, especially in the series so far. So maybe that's what helps get guys like McLeod going and Holloway and whoever else down the lineup. And too, like you look at guys like Yaremchuk and Brown, who have both been really good in this series so far, like drawing penalties, doing well on the penalty kill, 5-on-5 creating chances. Obviously, Yaremchuk had his goal disallowed in game 1. If they get a guy like McDavid and Draisaitl between them, maybe they're able to create even more offense from and just more effort from that too. So I would go 11-7, although it's obviously something that Knobloch's not been doing ever. I think he never done it right, because Kemp played as a forward, but tonight just seems out of necessity.
Yeah, Island Tony is in. He says bring in CC, but go 12-6 and fully take Darnell Nurse out of the lineup. I think if you can get 10 out of Darnell Nurse, you try to get 10 out of Darnell Nurse.
Well, I don't know. I can subscribe to the logic. Like if you know you're only going to get 10, then he's that banged up. So then, he's more of a liability.
Yeah.
Like I can subscribe to it. Once again, not having any lick of information outside of what Demers is speculating on in terms of what he's dealing with.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's Liam, since we have you on for a few more minutes here, let's do our little betting segment brought to you by our friends at Betway, where you can get a free bet up to $200 if your first bet loses. All you need to do is head over to Betway, opt in, place a wager with no minimum amount required, and if your bet loses, you will get a bonus bet to continue wagering on your favorite sports. This offer is available only outside of Ontario. 18 plus. Play responsibly. How do you sign up and make an account? You scan the QR code that is on your screen right now. Gentlemen, I want to start with the big dogs because we know the big dogs got to start eating here for the Edmonton Oilers. Zach Hyman plus 110, Connor McDavid plus 125, Draisaitl plus 140, and then you got Nuge at plus 250. Liam, who do you think finds the back of the net tonight out of that core group? Who snaps out of their slump first?
I'm actually going to go with Nuge. I feel like he's shown up in big moments for this team along this run. Like there was that, game 4 against the Canucks when he had the big goal. Obviously a couple of big goals against Dallas as well. So he seems to be showing up when they really, really need him. So I'll go with a Nugent Hopkins goal.
Who do you like?
Connor first goal.
Ooh, you want to get really
set
into
the
it.
tone. He's got the city on his back, and he's going to show up. So why not? In the first 3 minutes of the game.
That place would go freaking banana.
He knows
look
that.
at that. I have goosebumps.
He knows
about it.
And I think if we can do that, then he's gonna have the crowd behind his back the entire game, which we need that, right? We need to inject that energy. We got to keep Florida thinking.
I'm gonna go. I like that 7-1 on first goal scorer Connor McDavid. I actually think it's gonna be a Zach Hyman night tonight. I think he's just gonna be a dog going hard to the net. He hasn't been at his best for the last couple of games.
Full dog. He's gonna have his bowl of doggios.
Doggios?
Yeah, and just bring that dog.
Yeah. What's a brand of dog food? I couldn't remember it. I wanted to say
you only know the cat food, right, Tyler?
Yeah, Purina. I'm a big Purina guy. But I think Zach Hyman's going to have a big game tonight. It's also worth noting he's missed on a couple of just amazing looks in this series, and he's probably due to get things going. Part 2 of this question is somewhere lower out of the core who you really want to see or who you think is going to have a big game tonight. I'm going to say it's going to be Ryan McLeod. Maybe a bit of an obvious answer because he's slated to skate next to Leon Draisaitl in this hockey game, but I think Ryan McLeod is due to have himself a big performance, and I think he's going to maybe not find the back of the net, but I think he'll be very noticeable in a positive way tonight. Who do you think outside of the core is going to be good?
I'm only saying this to manifest a performance. I'm going Warren Fogle.
Hey, they need him. They absolutely need him.
Right? Like he has a big performance. He shows up.
Yep.
Regular season Warren. Then we've got a better chance to win this game.
Hell yeah, Liam. Who do you like outside of the core group?
I'll go Connor Brown. I think Connor Brown will get a goal tonight, and I'll even say it'll be short-handed.
Oh, that would be something.
Filthy.
That would be something. If Connor Brown finds a way to beat Sergei Bobrovsky on a shorthanded breakaway,
that will also pop the top off of Rogers Place.
Yeah, that place would go absolutely bananas. There's our look ahead for Betway. You surprised the Oilers are favorites in this hockey game, -135 as the series shifts back home.
Yeah, it's wild. Being down 2-0, still a lot of respect being shown the Oilers' way, but. My bets tonight is, I'm going Connor first goal, but I just only care about one thing and one thing only. That is W's, money line. As gross as it is, that's where my large, my full unit is going, if you will.
I know you made a good Oilers to win the series wager at the start. Now that thing is getting as juicy as it is now to bet on the comeback, have you reinvested it all?
I have not. I'm gonna go look and see what are the odds now.
What do you think? What do you think they would be, Liam? You got a guess for guess the line for Betway?
2
for the Oilers to win the series.
Yeah,
plus 275,
plus 400,
plus 375, plus 375.
Too fast.
Our friends at Betway also opened up a couple new bets for player props for the remainder of this series. I don't mind for most goals in the series. Zach Hyman at 7-1. He hasn't scored yet. Obviously, Rodriguez has 3, but I could see a world where Rodriguez doesn't score again and Hyman's able to get up, have a 2-goal game, maybe a Hyman Hattie at some point here. I don't hate that plus 700, but I also don't hate you can get Hyman at 3+ goals at plus 200. I also think that's fine. McDavid and Draisaitl both in that range as well. So they got some new player props up at Betway you can go check out as well. McDavid plus 150 to lead the series in points, even though he is 2 back of Rodriguez and I think 2 back of Barkov as well. No, Barkov has been quiet. I think he's just 2 back of Rodriguez. Either way, lots of stuff up over right now at Betway. So go ahead and check them out. Liam, before we let you go, let's get our Sherwood Power Sports and Marine keys to victory. Since we are out here right now, they are your one-stop shop for everything you need, from fishing rods and reels, tackle and boat accessories, to motorcycle gear, water sports accessories, to e-bikes. They got it all. Find out more about how they can upgrade your summer living and enjoyment by visiting them at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. Liam, let's go. Give me a key to victory.
No dumb turnovers. You know, I just look at that Evan Bouchard goal the other day in game 2. I think it was the second goal, right? Where the game was kind of either team had it going their way, and then Bouchard puts it right on Rodriguez.
The crowd was you could hear crickets in there. You could just hear us like talking.
Yeah, so I think that'd be my one tonight. Limit the mistakes.
Yeah.
Fair? What do you think?
Well, it's hard not to double down on that, but it's honestly it's a lot of things. It's got to get the power play going. Probably, I guess, number 1, get the PK going or get the power play going. Capitalize on those chances. If we move our legs and draw a lot of penalties, then we got to get 1 or 2.
Yeah, I think the special teams, like finding a way to get 1 or 2 on the power play, is just it'll swing the game tonight if it can get going. And someone earlier had a question that they wanted us to ask Demers, but I didn't. It was Chad, and he said, "Do you think the refs try to stay out of the game tonight?" And I don't think they are. It's a different crew than the crew in game 2.
You can't even think about that. They're just going to call the game they call. And I want to throw I want to throw an honorable mention to just making Bob's life difficult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, get to the paint. What do you think, Liam?
Is this a Kazari crew tonight then?
Yeah, it's Kazari tonight.
Well, to be fair to them, I thought they did a decent job in game 1 of calling the game correctly. The call seemed fair from what I remember, not too much miss. So hopefully it's just better, because that game in game 2, like, not to blame the refs because it was both ways, was just quite atrocious, to be honest.
Yeah, there was a lot of real questionable calls in that game. Did you get to sit on any of the press conferences, Liam?
I sat in on the Florida press conference. I know Frank kind of spoke about that a little bit, but not too much to report from there. Actually, there was one thing which was interesting. Paul Maurice said that Gustav Forsling was the best defenseman for the type of defenseman he is in the NHL, which I thought was an interesting thing. Obviously, like, a little bit biased, but he's been really good in this series. And I think for a 30-year-old defenseman to be where he is at in his career after everything he's gone through with, like, waivers and all that kind of stuff, is impressive. And then obviously Frank said, just like the travel that Florida dealt with, they really didn't seem to care about it at all. So I suppose, like, when you're down in Florida, you're used to those kind of disrupted flights from time to time.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, Liam, you get back at it down there at the arena, and we'll see you later.
Goodbye.
Bye, Liam. Liam's appearance.
Bye, friend.
Brought to you by our friends at Fountain Tire, who are presenting all of our coverage of the final. Once again, Fountain Tire ensures 100% of their vehicles owned or have properly aligned vehicles. Wheel alignments extend the life of your tire, which lowers the carbon footprint of your vehicle, reduces emissions, and lowers your fuel consumption. Read more at fountaintire.com. Let's get to and away from the Rink report, Jay, and it's brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, Alberta's best tasting beef jerky. Head to willhawkbeefjerky.com, or you can pick some up. Visit them in Leduc, visit them in Spruce Grove, or at their kiosk location in Edmonton. We have a lot of visitors in Edmonton right now, and it is pretty cool. Like, I was just sitting today watching the Oilers practice before we did DFO Live, and you see all these different people buzzing around. There's Wit and Biz and, like, the Chicklets guys, and the Jonathan Torrens there, and, like, there's so many people in Edmonton. The community arena down there is made up into this big, like, media hall ballroom thing. So you're seeing all the media people from out of town, and I'm really happy, obviously, that we're here from an Oilers perspective. And I'm sure you will echo this, but, like, from a city perspective, these people who work in hockey and who cover the league and are really only in town during the winter when there's a big Oilers game, they only see Edmonton when it's at its coldest. It's very nice that they get to see Edmonton on a day like today.
It's green, it's sunny, And also they get to see the city electric. Everyone's out and about, right? So they get to see the best version of Edmonton that they can. So, things like this and making to the finals, like you see all the attention the city gets from all this, like it helps put Edmonton on the map. So us as Edmontonians, we should be proud of that because now, they can see the full Monty. We get all 4 seasons here, right? And it's good. It's good. There's gonna be a lot of positive coverage around it, which is great. And the Oilers are going to add to this. They're going to win, and these people are going to see Edmontonians, what we look like, how we act after an Oilers victory outside in these long nights.
Oh, and it's a Thursday too,
and it's a Thursday, Friday. I told myself this morning I am not going to have any beers at tonight's game. Throughout this whole broadcast, I'm like, no, I'll have one. Now I'm going to have 2. Well, if they win, I'll probably have to go and celebrate that. So all bets are off. Playoffs, baby. It's more just so like it was a crazy travel to Florida, and I had a much better travel experience than you on the way back. But still, it was after game 2, we got back to the hotel at like 12:30, and I had to get up at 3:30 in the morning. Ooh. Right, so like it was. So I've been trying to catch up from that. So I'm like, you know what? I slept good last night.
You deserve it.
I deserve it.
You're going to be watching the Stanley Cup Final game.
The Stanley Cup Finals in Edmonton, Alberta. What are we even talking about here?
Yeah. Mike D is in. He says, y'all should do a live show from somewhere outdoors tomorrow so ON citizens can come and watch. Well, if you want to watch pre and post game today, we are going to be live at Greta. Our boy AB is going to have the hookup down in our party spot downtown Edmonton. Arcade, bar, street food, they got it all at Greta. It is a fantastic spot to watch the game. So swing by pregame, postgame, or come watch the whole damn thing with us. Boardsy's going to be there with pre and postgame. That goes live right here on the Oilers Nation YouTube at 5 o'clock, and we're lining up a couple of pretty special guests to be joining him on the program as well. I think both of them are going to be live at Greta. One of them, I haven't even told Aaron that we've booked yet, so Aaron's going to be nice and surprised when
everyone's surprised. All right, let's go.
Everyone's getting surprised, but go pregame with Aaron. Head out to Greta to watch the game tonight. Okay, before we wrap up, I did want to play AB. Do we have that that kind of viral thing from? So basically, yesterday the Florida Panthers kind of got screwed by the weather in their city. Although I would say they kind of screwed themselves by not leaving a day earlier, like the Oilers did. But they kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed, and finally their plane was able to take off from Florida. I think they take off from Fort Lauderdale.
I think so.
And they were able to get up close to Edmonton and take a listen as the air traffic control in YEG had some fun with the Panthers plane.
A 2-hour hold for you, or whatever it would take for you to be low enough of fuel that you'll have to divert from Edmonton. And mention it to your passengers, maybe they'll figure it out. Delta 8948, against my better judgment, when ready, descend level 290.
Have you got a score on the hockey game?
Game's tomorrow.
I thought it was tonight. I guess you don't. Okay.
Yeah, actually
That's good. At the very beginning of that is so basically the Panthers plane's coming in, and the Edmonton air traffic says, we got to hold on you. We're going to divert you for as long as it'll take for you to have to go somewhere else to fuel up, which is real good.
It's just good air traffic controller humor.
Yeah, good air traffic control humor. I thought that was funny.
But you know what? You know what that is? That is everyone doing their part.
Yeah.
Air traffic controller did his best. We have to do our best as fans, whether we're yelling at a TV screen, we're wearing our lucky stuff, we're doing our superstitions, we're going to the game. We got to bring that energy. We all have a role to play in this, no matter where we are in the globe. So let's throw that energy out there and manifest this, because trust me, they will feel it.
Before we let everybody go here, because we're going to be hustling back to the office to get going on a new edition of the Real Life Podcast.
Mm-hmm. And there's pizza being delivered.
What? I'm so hungry. You're not kidding, right?
We got some Boston pizza coming to the office to feed the crew for tonight.
Oh, that makes me so happy. All right. Daily Faceoff Playoff Parlay Challenge is up now. dailyfaceoff.com. We're giving away prizes for the winner every night. We're giving away prizes for rounds. We got grand prizes for the whole playoffs as well. Head to dailyfaceoff.com. Head to the DFO Games tab in the top right-hand corner. You basically make a handful of selections on the game tonight. And if you're the one who nails what's going to happen in tonight's hockey game, you win some prizes from us. We got gift cards, all that good stuff. dailyfaceoff.com. Go hit the DFO Games tab. All right, I think that is a wrap on today's edition of the show. Tomorrow, I mean, we're going to be breaking down Game 3. Obviously, got a couple of special guests lined up to join the show as well, and hopefully it is a victory edition. Shout out to our friends at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine as well for having us out for today's Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show. They're both just a stone's throw away from each other down in the heart of Sherwood
Well,
Park.
full disclosure, I went to Sherwood Ford first.
And then you reread my text?
Because, no, it's because I was just so determined to grab a Sherbucks.
Oh, did you get one?
No, I didn't, because I should have still done it, but I was like, no, I got the tripod. I'm letting Tyler down by being late. I had Sherbucks on the brain.
Yeah, Sherbucks. Another one of the many reasons.
Now I might walk out with a pontoon boat. Pretty sick. That one over there
in the back is so sick. I know. That's nice. After being out with Frank the other day, it's definitely got the itch going a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a wrap on today's edition of the show. Tomorrow we'll have our moment of the game for Douglas Mattress as well. We'll have our scoring summary for our friends over at Wendy's. So plenty to get to tomorrow, and hopefully it is recapping an Oilers victory. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Thanks to Demers, Frank, and Liam for joining us live from the arena. Game 3, Stanley Cup Final, right here in beautiful Edmonton. I hope you enjoy it all tonight, and we'll chat tomorrow. Oil up!
Thank you for watching Oilers Nation Every Day. Hit the subscribe button to never miss a show. And for more, visit OilersNation.com.